Well, is anybody new here? Yeah. No? Everyone's heard not Zen Bitch Slap. Oh, Arun?
We have a hand up.
Arun, how are you?
Want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm new.
How did you end up here, Arun?
Uh, I've been a non-duality seeker since about 1998, I think. Uh, I've been watching the recordings of these online, so I thought I would join.
Oh, great. Well, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
1998. Wow. Anyone else? No? Oh, there's Jay. Nice to see you, Jay. Oh, we have Mary. Mary Champagne. Oh, that's nice.
I'm new to your satsang. I ran into you about 15 years ago, though.
15.
I think you did a satsang in Santa Cruz, right? If you remember.
Oh, a long, long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was hanging around with Richard Miller, who was interviewing you around that time. And we ended up finding you on Highway 1 in Mill Valley at some house in the dark at night. I don't remember that much.
Yes,
But anyway,
yes.
I heard your name recently come up when I was listening to Angelo DeLullo. And I said, oh, that's the guy that
Yeah.
talks about not turning around and seeing a self. And I just loved what you had said back then, but could never get it. And I'm still lost. So here I am.
Oh, great. Well, that hasn't changed. So,
Good.
yeah, there's nothing new in non-duality. So basically, yeah. I think that Angelo guy used to come and see us in San Francisco. And I guess he's blossomed into something, and he keeps giving a good word about me to others. So how can I whatever? But yeah, I remember him. He used to come in the city Wednesday nights and Saturdays. A nice guy. So yep. Okay, well, the message is simply this, not to. But let me tell you, this came from observation. Yeah, because I heard non-duality in 1997, I think, the idea of it. I hadn't read anything about it. I had heard about Dzogchen in Tibetan Buddhism, which is sort of their version. And I was quite intrigued about laying down on the ground and looking at a clear sky with relaxed awareness. Yeah. Yeah. And then I remember I got introduced to the Course in Miracles, and many, many times before you would do the lesson, which they present 365 lessons for a year of just being under that effect. And most of the time when they were describing you and I doing the lesson, it would be just stay very chilled out. Yes, this is not a marching order or anything like that. Just sort of look around the room and see what you see and present the statement. I'm giving everything all the meaning it has, and maybe something's going to be revealed, which it is. You know, it's you get a whack before the one says it got a whack. So I came in and I listened to people, and certain stuff that was unclear became clear with the non-duality understanding. It just brings out a lot of stuff that all the other things, which I didn't do a massive amount of stuff, but all the other things didn't bring this stuff out. It didn't seem to. But non-duality, by simple statements, just brings these misunderstandings out of the weeds, and you can get a good look at them. And by being able to see them, there's an inference that obviously you're not that which is you're seeing. And therefore, there's that free sample of feeling what you are right now and right here. Hey, John, come on in. You're in, so don't even come in. So what happened to me was the most important, the message was really the warnings. So let's just take the event of going to a satsang and hearing about non-duality. What happens when you and I go to a satsang and then we hear about non-duality? That hearing of non-duality is claimed like everything else is claimed very, very, very quickly, the mental process. And while seemingly right after you're hearing it, you're the hearer of it. Yeah. And now this activity, which was going on without my noticing it or knowing it, was one of the main points non-duality pointed out. They said that even in an old message by Trungpa Rinpoche, Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism, I remember that book came out. The first few paragraphs of the book, he said, before we got into all this stuff, just know this. He says, the ego is going to take advantage of anything it's brought into contact with. Yeah, I don't like the term ego because a lot of people will talk about an ego as if they have one or they want to lose one. Well, I believe that sense of ownership of an ego is really the bondage of self. Yeah, the ego is an objectification of it. But the message was, before you get into this whole book, just be wary of this thing. So there was a warning there that the ego is going to take advantage of everything that it's introduced to. Yeah, we are the introducer of self, this mental activity, to this event. Yeah, because we as an event are consciousness. So the consciousness is what produces the contact here. Yeah. And then that contact, there's the one and then the contact, the head claims that, and the consciousness is now called you. And now you are the one that's being conscious of things, or you are conscious of things. You're not being conscious, you're being Paul, but you are consciousness, yeah, as Paul. So the object is now believing it's the subject. Yeah. And so the head claims whatever happens, and basically seeing gets turned into a seer. Hearing gets implied to be a hearer. Feeling gets taken to the point of being the hearer. So there's the hearer, feeler, seer, taster, toucher, doer. Yeah. Yet all there is seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, thinking, doing. But now the living or the conscious contact has been replaced with a mental interpretation. Yeah. Which in most people, they can admit in just a typical day that everyone seems to be self-centered. Yeah. So self-centeredness is the way we're looking at things. Yeah. So, and what does self-centeredness, what does it entail? Everything is seen as how it pertains to you, the you that you're not. It's just that simple. This isn't like someone's doing it to you. This is the mechanics of this place. The mechanics of this place are way more mechanical than you imagine, because the head has poured like a personal, like molasses of ownership and personalness on the mechanics. So you believe you're doing it most of the time, but you're not. Yeah. So you're the product of mechanics. You're not the one who's doing the mechanics. Yeah. Actually, the mechanics are doing us, so to speak. Yeah. So the first mechanic is this claiming of whatever's going on. So if you're reading porno or a spiritual book, it has you as the reader of it. It doesn't, if you're reading a 3,000, year manuscript from a cave in Tibet, it's going to claim to be the reader of that. If you're reading a snuff fucking novel or something, it's claiming to be the reader of that. It doesn't discriminate. Whatever it's brought into the contact with, it claims. And I humbly feel by observation that claiming is so fast, we start where it sets up a manufacturing starting point, and we live from there. Yeah, because basically you're already on, you are awake right now, but there's no acknowledgement until there's a claiming of something. So then the thought comes, I'm the thinker. Yeah. Then, it's my room. Yes. It constantly needs that trigger, because basically that sense of what you are is the same, this or this. If you hear a vibration or you feel something this way and you're not seeing anything, and then when you open up, that not seeing anything is the same feeling, and now you see things. Yeah. There's a seeing of things. Yeah. That seeing of things triggers the claiming that you're a thing. Yeah. And I humbly believe that if you see everything here as a process, which means it's of time. Yeah. Because processes obviously don't happen immediately, or at that very moment you trigger the process, there's going to be some time and actions to, and produce an effect. I believe our world starts there after the effect. The claiming has produced an effect. That's the beginning of time for us. So we don't have the reliability of what's before, because it's shrouded. There's like a big curtain, and you basically think the curtain is just like the other walls you're seeing. Yeah. But there's a whole lot of space there. But this is where we start. We start after the manufacturing of self. Yeah. So every investigation won't be about self. It will be done by self. Yes. It's very difficult to put it on under the light. Yeah. Because you don't think that this was the beginning and the end, so to speak, in time. And so it is, but it is a mental process. So there is a before that we are. And I would say, like Ramana says, being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery. So, all right, being ourselves reality. What triggers the greatest mystery? Time. What's the greatest mystery? Reality wants to attain reality. How would reality, in its right mind, ever believe it needs to attain reality? But at that point, reality is assuming itself to be Paul. And Paul's having a lot of trouble in this mental reality, and he's heard about the reality, and it thinks it would be better than this reality. So Paul wants to get a little bit of that reality to get a little relief from his reality. Yeah. So this is the greatest mystery, reality wanting to attain reality. Yeah, it is the greatest mystery in time. But if you could see that which is the starting point as not you, you would see it from before time. Yeah. You, whatever you want to call you are, there would be a seeing of it before time. And it cuts the need for all the explanations after time. It's just a sudden whack. There's a seeing of it. Yeah. And if it's at the right moment, at the right time, it may, anchor into a beachhead, and then things change. Yeah. Not by you attempting to change it, but mostly by how you see things. Yeah. So the emphasis of life shifts, just like the emphasis in a spiritual seeker getting so frustrated and yelling out, I'm never going to get it, is the same, but the emphasis is completely different to a person who has realized the non-duality, which is, I'm never going to get it. Hallelujah. Yeah. Because that which is driving to get it is the obscuring of what we are, is the being of it. So when that thing gets super frustrated, it's hallelujah. Yeah, because there's an admittance, and you're there in the choir singing along. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is never going to get it. That can be put aside. And all and then suddenly, from one view, all the failures seem like failures. From another view, the failures are the greatest successes. You're never going to get it. And then suddenly something fucking stops. And when you stop, you see it. You don't see it while you're looking for it. Yeah, because you're it. You are that which is seeing. So when all the looking for it stops, there you are. Yeah. It had a huge effect on me. And I had a number of those Zen bit stops. a number of those blows where a lot of the miscellaneous little pissing away of interest and attention just came to an end. The whole idea, I used to really pounce on it because remember, you were driven to get into the moment. I mean, a lot of the spiritual practices were about getting into the moment, literally the ones I heard a lot about. And there was books about getting into the moment. And there was books that would follow up with the first book, with the second book, how to really get into the moment. And then the third book would be how to really, really stay in the moment. But they were all predicated on an insane idea that you could be out of a moment. Very rarely did I hear anyone fucking talk about that. Yeah. Yeah. Because the interest is getting into the moment. Yeah. And then having a story, what got you out of the moment, and then sharing with others who have been banned or fucking disqualified because they did something that got them kicked out of the moment and they want to get back into the moment, but all the while they don't think they deserve to be into the moment. So they suffer the failures of being out of the moment. And it's all head. And it's got a toy and it plays a ping pong with it, like a cat with two long paws that could go like this all day. You take the ball away. You don't try to retrain the cat. The cat's already shown you its nature. Ding, 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 ding. You just take the ball away or stop being the ball, literally. And then what happens? Instead of this urge or need, and maybe you never even thought about it, and then someone told you about spiritual meanings and a book, and now you feel like you need to be liberated suddenly. So you have this huge pressure on you, which was bad enough. Now you need to be liberated, and it's really causing a huge itch, and you're trying to scratch it. I need to be liberated. I need to transcend. But this is really, you're liberated from the need to be liberated. This is how it goes from here. I'm just sharing how it unfolded here. Yeah. I never became liberated. I was liberated from the need to be liberated. I saw I was not that which needs to be liberated. I can't argue with it. When you start saying, oh, it doesn't really need to be liberated, it needs to be liberated. The head is fucking insane. And it's trying to get out of this little thing it's made, and it needs to be liberated, but it can't. Yeah. But I can be liberated from that need. Yes. Yes. And even you're feeling, well, couldn't have this happened earlier? There's no earlier. Yeah. Every now starts now. Yeah. It doesn't matter, oh, I really blew it. If I would have only stayed with Zen Bitch Slap. No, you had to do whatever happened. Yeah. And when it dawns on you, it whispers something somehow, you'll realize it's always been this way. Now, the head loves to whisper to you, it's always going to be this way. It always was this way. And it will go on and on. This just says it sort of once. And it's quite convincing. You're just there and you just really, it's always been this way. So no, all my skating and skiing away and falling, nothing has changed. Ultimately, nothing. Yeah. This world is always changing constantly, but nothing has changed. That sky, Kathleen said, will allow anything, hot air balloons, cold air balloons, planes, clouds, water, storms, lightning, and none of it affects it. Yeah. Where do you see the lightning? In the sky. Do you see the sky get hit with lightning? No, you don't, do you? The sky never gets wet when it rains. It doesn't. Yeah. That there's no airplane pilot that calls up to the tower and says, I ran into a big chunk of sky. No. You go smoothly through the sky. It may be turbulent. You can't see what's moving around, but that space is pretty damn fucking available to whatever is going to occur, and yet is not affected by any of what occurs. Yeah, it's sort of like us in a lot of ways. So, of course, I'm singing the blues of time and space as the action figure, but there are no blues in the infinite. Yes. So you get a little bit of that taste here. It goes a long way in time and space, a huge way. So these doors that you always thought you would have to go through and they're locked or you get this, they're all gateless gates. This is all about open secrets. There's no mystical fucking masonry type shit to get power here, maybe, but there's none of that's fucking need. You don't need to do a 800-hour ritual to open. You're right here. Open the gateless gate. Hey, brother, it's been open this whole time. Oh, no, wait a minute. Let's believe the gate has been closed. Now open it. Yes. We would love, we want to open it, but we want to make sure it was closed. Yeah. We don't want to know it was open the whole time. So yeah, this worked. I just heard this message. Things fell apart. My spiritual pants fell down. I didn't pick them up. So this is more of a warning. The warning is you can't get before where you've started. The mental idea of you cannot get before that. Yeah. It's there. It's like all the clothes of all the emperor that it's ever worn. It's still naked there. And you can see it. You can see what you would assume to be you or were you or gonna be you as not you. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're gonna understand the limitations of this event called the inaction figure. It's a programmed event. It's programmed in self-centeredness. I know for one thing for sure through addiction that the idea of it trying to get out of itself, it's never going to get that that's going to be a failure. It will keep trying to get out of self as self. It does it with drugs, with spirituality, then back to drugs, then maybe this, maybe making money, blah, blah, blah. It's constantly, no matter how much evidence you amass to convince it, you can't convince it. It's mechanical, so you might as well just move on. Yeah, has a nature like a snake. It's going to bite you inevitably. Doesn't matter how you treat it or sing, kumbaya or my amigo. It doesn't matter. And eventually it's going to fail you because it's a failed system. It just doesn't work well. Yet it won't admit that. Yeah. So there you go. So all that stubbornness of trying to resuscitate that thing because you think it's your only ticket somewhere, let it fucking die in a way. It's never been alive, actually. Yeah. And it's you resuscitating it all these times. Yeah. Yeah. So the action figure is going to have his run. The head thinks it's going to transcend it and go into another action figure. It stops. It stops just as soon as the heart stops and the brain stops, the voice in your head stops. There is no thing that has that voice. It's just a voice. It will stop and he ain't going anywhere. And it's not Paul Hedderman edition 33. There's no more editions. It's a one-hit wonder of a novel. So you don't have to worry about reincarnation because there's no incarnation. Yeah. There's no incarnation. There may be reincarnation and there may be incarnations, but there's no one that incarnated and no one is going to reincarnate. Yeah. Yeah. The mechanics may put out another model of G.I. Joe, but there's no Joe with the G.I. Joe. So as G.I. Joe gets better, the old G.I. Joes don't feel that they were bad because there's no G.I. Joe. It's a mechanical little idea. Yeah, it works better if it thinks it's a G.I. Joe, so they program it as a G.I. Joe. When it runs into 800 G.I. Joes, there'll be a little program that says, but you're different than all the 800 G.I. Joes, with no evidence whatsoever, but you'll live as if you're different. Yeah. Exhibiting the sameness. because the personalness isn't something that came about from the fact that you're personal. It's manufactured. It's like a syrupy nectar that runs over the mechanics. Yeah. So it feels as if this nut is my nut. This gear is me. Yes, it does. It's like an oil you put in a car. This oil is the obsession with self. Just keep pouring it in. Yeah. Everyone, it happens like in addiction, almost everyone obviously comes in thinking they're terminally unique. They do, even though it's just sticking out like such a huge sore thumb. But this syrup is pretty good. It is pretty good because you'll sit there. I remember I had 2 years in a program, 2 years, 24/7. That's a pretty large period of time. And these people who talk to me, I would take offense at a lot of things they said because I didn't like hearing it as Paul. Don't they know who the fuck I am? Yeah, they knew exactly what I was, but I was taking it like offense, but there I am in a fucking rehab and shit. And they never wavered from seeing me as an addict. Not once did they see me as Paul. And treating me as I actually was probably the best 2 years of my life for those 20 years out there. It was. And I had to begrudgingly admit that because I didn't like them and I thought I had much better ideas. But by them containing me in such a small environment and watching over me and telling me what to do, that were the best 2 years of my life for the last like 20 years out there. So there was a rude awakening in there somewhere. It was like, what? And then I realized I could turn my life over to everyone, not everyone here, but most of you, and you do a better job with it than I do. That goes against my whole self-interest, it seems, but true. My self-interest isn't interested in me. It's interested in self. And what I am, and I don't know what I am, but what it is, just cannot live and thrive in this suit of self. It's just way too fucking tight. It's like wearing, your baby clothes and you're 70 years old. Well, maybe that's not a good example because I'm heading towards that direction. But let's go to another example. But it's like an over tight suit. Yeah. You feel irritable, restless, and discontent. And of course, you're moved to do something. And in its great logic, it has about 800 failures with different degrees of failing. There's not a winning combination in all of them. So you keep trying to figure out, it's not going to work. Yeah, the failed system has failed. And we say it in recovery. We say, being convinced that any life run on self-will will hardly be a success. That's a pretty incredible statement. Any life means all the lives. Yeah. So any life run on self-will is hardly going to be a success. Didn't preface it, you got to be an addict or an alcoholic. No, any life run on self-will. So what can a failed system show you? It's failed. Yeah. Yeah. And that's our day of hallelujah, literally. To it, it's a day of reckoning it wants to avoid at all costs, but you're not it. So, yeah, let it have its day of reckoning. Yeah. The action figure isn't going to die. Yeah. But there's going to be a loss of interest in the action figure as a special, unique character. And you're going to be freed from all the effects and all the guilt and shame you have about the cloud formations because more sky will be available. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You'll find yourself in your own nature, which is okay before anything ever happens. Yeah. This is not a meritocracy. You don't have to earn spirituality. It's an open secret, a gateless gate. All the requirements are on the mental side. Literally. If you believe the requirement will have the ability to seemingly obstruct you of something. Once you lose the belief in the requirement, you walk right through the gateless gate. Did it have a gate when you had the requirement? No, the requirement played the role of the gate. That's it. Yeah. We make our own gates and we make our own secrets because it's an open secret and it's a gateless gate. Yeah. And the beautiful news is we don't make it. The action figure makes it. With our language, we're aligned with the action figure, but let's point it out. We don't make it. The action figure sees things that way. We don't. Yeah. We can see things through the way the action figure sees it, or we can see the action figure seeing it that way. Yeah. But we were never the seeing of it. We did not. That belief wasn't ours. Yeah. So you can tell the truth about stuff. I noticed when I got out of recovery, I had a long period of being loaded, long. And in those years, whatever the system was doing, whatever was doing, denial was a big thing, and disassociation. So if my right arm was bleeding, I would just look left. Wouldn't deal with anything, just avoid at all costs everything. Yeah, and I had tons of strategies like that had no workability. I wash up into recovery, and I thought I was winning, like, avoiding all that shit. I did. I'm fucking pretty good at avoiding all this fucking responsibility and everything. But then I got into AA, and then all that stuff I was trying to avoid landed. And I thought it was going to be the death blow. That's how the head had presented it. I'm going to die if I stop and let this thing land. Yeah. But it was going to die, not me, but I was taking its story to be mine. And then they started to happen. And all this shit that I had spent a lot of time trying to make as unreal as possible, yeah, which I was giving it a huge reality. I had no idea about duality, how it works. Yeah, I didn't know that I was given a reality to something that doesn't have any, yeah, by trying to avoid it at all costs. So being ourselves reality, I was given reality to appearances and would do anything not to run into those appearances. Yeah. Suddenly they start running into me and all these things land on me and I was ready for the death blow and nothing fucking happened. And I let them be as real as they wanted to be, and they showed themselves to be unreal. So incredible, man. Some of the shit I had taken to be real for 12, 14 years, and I putting it off. And the moment I let it be real, it was unreal. Incredible. Didn't take, it's going to be months before it's on. No, because it is unreal. It appeared unreal like that. Like that. And then they were dropping like flies. It was going on. I was just boom, 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 boom. I could not believe it. So this mental process of claiming and having you as a noun in this worldly event of verbing, I do not believe there's any process in time that can get before that process and affect and influence that process. I don't see it. Yeah. And there's a lot of processes that come after, but because of their role of after, the before infects them with its principle, which is nounhood. Yeah. So each process, even the processes that get out of nounhood, are shot up with nounhood. Yeah. Seriously. And I don't see how you're gonna how you're going to get before that concoction is mixed. It's already, we seemingly start after the conscious contact. I don't see how this is going to get before. It's impossible to me. And this appearance, as Huang Po said, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. I would say this appears on the one side of the camera. Here's the camera, and out there is what the camera is like perceiving. This is outside, on that side of the camera. We're not before the camera. We're not that which is looking before the camera. We're that which is seen after the camera. This, yeah, that completely disqualifies it. Whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. I don't care how many vehicles, if this is the vehicle that's in all the other vehicles, it can't go. It can't drive. There's a point, its appearance disappears way, way, way before it gets to the before. So this mental process, and this is injects its principle into the processes that come after. And the process that come after have very little influence on this process. They're all infected with you. Getting out of you, finding more of you, authentic you, fraudulent you, they're all shot in. And by the time you move, you're the mover. Yeah, if you're going to meditate yourself out of it as your ass moves towards the cushion, you're the meditator. So all the verbing you want to use to be free from the noun is claimed by the noun. I just don't see how he can beat it. I don't. So this is like aware surrender in a sense. It's not, this doesn't surrender. You surrender to this as mechanical. This doesn't surrender. Yeah. It can express surrender. It doesn't surrender. Yeah. It has the same old ideas before it surrenders that it had after it, way before then. The ideas don't change much. Yeah. But what's filling it with interest and attention does. And then that interest and attention, you realize this thing runs better with less of this mental gas. Every time I put premium in my old Toyota, it fucks everything up because my old Toyota is used to regular. I'm going to give it back. No, it doesn't run well. So in this case, a lack of interest allows the action figure to travel lighter. It's not more fucking interest. I had no idea of that. I got a taste of it by service. And that was begrudgingly driven there. That when I lose interest in me, I gain interest in, I don't want to name it because it's fun just to meet it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you will lose interest in this preoccupation and gain interest in other things. Yeah. And that life that you think is lacking and empty may be enriched. Yeah. I know I've been trying to get out of here since I was like 5 or 6. That thing dropped years ago, man. And it's not because I think this is nirvana or paradise. I don't. But it's because I've been convinced I can't get out of an imaginary place. And so basically, let's make hay when, the hay is made. So that's it. It's not like, this is, every second of time. No. It's just, but that desire and belief that I could get out has been completely washed out. Yeah, this can't get out of this. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, because when you're imagining you as not this, you're imagining it as this. That's why people want to be as non-self as a self. Yeah. They want to have non-self tendencies, but they want to be there to have them. It's frustrating. And yet, with this understanding, it's going to be given great value because it's going to fail, inevitably. It has to. That's the only way we wouldn't be ourselves reality if it could succeed. If we could become something that we could never be, which is this thing that appears, if we could become that, it would just knock out the whole invitation of non-duality. But the assumption is you are already that which you're looking for. And what's going to be affected is all the looking for it. Yeah. Yeah. And if you go under that seeming process, the action figure comes out a winner because it, never knowing it, lack of its own interest in its own drive works better. than being obsessed with its drive. Yeah. Because it's making diseases up. It's giving name and form to things. It's producing, you know, when they first did psychiatry or something, I think there was 4 mental illnesses. There's like 498 or something now. There's more and more name and form being, you know, but they're all being stamped with reality, reality. And yes, the feeling of it can be real, but the truth of it ain't. Yeah. Yeah. There's pain happens here. The suffering is something else. Yeah. The suffering needs the instrument of time to really play its song out. Yes, it does. I've seen it. I've been under a lot of physical pain for a long period of time. And the suffering is a completely different beast, has nothing actually to do with the pain whatsoever. It's just another object the head can fixate on. It's constantly looking for something to fixate. And physical pain is the one it's the easiest way it fixates. And by the pain feeling so real, it disqualifies other possibilities. It's like it's trump card. Oh yeah, but I feel this pain is terrible. That's meaning pain is real. Yeah, no. It isn't. How real can it be if you took the thing that's allows the pain to express itself away? Would there be pain? Do you think a spirit would have pain? No. Most people, when they have an out-of-body experience, they say most of their suffering is rooted in a body condition somehow or another. Yeah. And if they could get relieved of that body, they would feel a certain freedom. And you do. I've been freed from the body. Yeah. And you realize all the stuff that I'm bitching about and claiming about, the origin is this long lasting, independent, separate idea. It truly is, seriously. So, you can live out of the body a lot and the body's still here. At least something that was never in it can seem to step out of it. And therefore, I find it runs a lot better with a lot less electricity, which is all the going over thing. And, you know, I probably had 800 terminal diseases, but I never noticed any of them, and they came and went. And who knows which one's going to finally park to bring my demise. But you know what I mean? There's probably tons of stories that could have just become headlines. First, the headline would have been made, and then you'd have to live out the story. But if, you know, shit comes, shit goes. Don't call it anything. You know what I mean? I mean, once you give it name and form, it has form to apply on you, so to speak, I feel. So if I have wild experiences, I don't share them. And if I have whatever, I don't share, literally. You're more of like a transit point. You're not the arrival or the destination. Just shit moves through constantly. Yeah. Yeah. And the sense of verbing to me is much, much more intimate than the biography of a historical thing. Like if someone would say, I was born here and do this, I went to school and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can see all that. But the feeling to me is of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, doing. Yes, it's all verbing. Yeah. I think the noun is if you're gonna, you know, you're gonna loosely have one, but have it after the verb, not before the verb. Before the verb, it chokes up that flow because you're claiming all this shit, yes, and you're the doer, yes, and it backs up, and the burps of guilt and shame and fucking all this, yeah. But if you could, even if you want that, there is a story of a noun, but have it be after the verbs. So yeah, seriously, instead of, because you're going to have a story of the action figure, but it does much better, I feel, after the verb, not before the verb. Before the verb, it's implicated with so much shit it has absolutely nothing to do with. Really, after the verb, the verbing would go through it because you would see it's not a opaque thing. It's an idea. Yeah. And it only has a little bit of opaqueness because in 80 years, let's say 70 years, it's going to fade so quickly. Yeah. So with it as a story, it's a comedy. First of all, it presents a lot of comedy ideas. It's awesome. Yeah, you can do if you had a late night show on the action figure, you would fucking for 30 years. So the verbing's coming through, and it's actually coming through. The noun is just a certain idea that doesn't have much. It can't play the role of a dam or anything like that. Yeah, the water doesn't get stopped by it, the flowing. Yeah, that's the fact. Now the story is the cart of the noun is before the verb of the horse, but that's not true. And if you live a life thinking that's true, when it's reversed, it tells you it never needed to be reversed. It was always the horse in front of the cart. It was just misunderstanding, a lot of let's say. Yeah. So I think the thing when Jesus said, on the cross, supposedly, forgive them for they know not what they do, he could have said that any day, any moment, really, because we don't know what we're doing. Really, we don't. We're driven by shit and we have this weird role that we must be the driver, but it's obviously not, because you can be the meanest to the person you love the most. I mean, you're not the driver. Yeah, it would just go better for everyone in a sense. Maybe you would laugh a lot more. So, but yeah. Verbing goes on. Essential verbing. Doing essential, doer not essential. Seeing completely essential, seer no essential. Seer is just an add-on. It has nothing to do with itself. It just gets a self from the claiming of the scene. Yeah. So let that stuff hit you. Just rest in, if it triggers something in you, the futility of trying to use time to get out of time, let's say, or get into a better time, whatever, just to see the futility of it. And with this understanding, it's going to, instead of having that bum out, frustrated result, you're going to have a hallelujah result, because the reason why you can never get back is because you never left. The reason why you can't attain reality is because you are reality. Isn't that great news? Literally. It's great fucking news. You can drop the thing. If you had a feeling that you're overwhelmed here, it's probably correct. The action figure is fucking Jesus Christ. You had a story that I'm the navigator and my captain of my boat, and I'm the only one that really wants you to go to Hawaii, and then I'm run by some fucking person I didn't even know for 2 years. My life looked better with them being the captain of the SS Hedderman. What? Where's you mean all these stories were just that? Yes, they were just that stories. Just see it. Just if you ever riding a bike and you're gonna fall off, why do you try to save the bike? Surfing, go into the rocks. I try to save the board every fucking time because I just bought that board for $200. And I'm fucking, obviously, in my head's view, I'm less valuable than that. So I'm in the rocks and the board, oh, the board made it. You go out Starbucks, you've been complaining how shitty it is. You start falling and you try to save that fucking Starbucks more than you. You don't need a book, just see your own behavior. Something in you that talks to you as you doesn't give a shit about you, literally. It doesn't care how bad you feel if you look somewhat halfway decent. That's all that need, you know. It's insane. I mean, how much can you get? To me, it happened once very clearly, if you don't mind the stories. I was young. We were going to go to a Rod Stewart concert. in Madison Square Garden. I live in Long Island. Me and my little hombres, we dropped acid. I did a little more. I did a lot of acid. And as I was closing up to go to the train station, my head just suggested, why don't you just take 9 Secanols, 9 downers? And I'm going, now I believe when I was a kid that learned in our society, self-preservation is the strongest instinct. Well, that something was trying to kill me. And I'm so, wait a minute, this thing's trying to kill me. And I saw on like animal shows, self-preservation is the strongest instinct. Wait a minute, this isn't jiving, I started getting clues early. Hey, wait a minute, this thing's not really looking out for my best condition. So, yeah. All right, that's it. So the warnings are there. Tell me if it's, tell me, do you believe if you start in time that you can get before time in a time vehicle? I don't believe it. I just don't. So why not just leave that which is in time? Yeah. See, it's not you. And you'll have a little ofness of the timelessness that it so sorely needs here. Yeah. Yeah. So you're not going to get it. That's the getting of it. That's great. Yeah. You're not going to arrive. That's the getting of it. If you arrive, it's going to inform you on having never left. So you're going to get over the habit of arriving sooner or later. All your little jaunts to get somewhere is going to be dropped. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone, Kathleen? Oh, we ripped a long time. Kathleen?
Yeah, hi, I'm here. I sorry, there was a tractor going by. I couldn't really hear you.
All right.
Tractor with some Amish kids in it.
All right. Anyone?
Anyone? Anyone have a
Vlad,
comment?
nice to see you, Vlad.
You could let us. Oh, it looks like Mucci unmuted. I'm not sure. That might think.
Did I?
Is that because you wanted to talk, or was that an accident?
Yeah, I know I didn't want to talk, but I was, but I'll talk because something happened to me very recently, and I think it's worth mentioning because I listened to a lot of your talks, Paul, here, and I know you say at one point you said don't listen to the propaganda of the head or how the propaganda of the head can infiltrate us a little bit. And last week I went to Boston and I have a fear of flying, and I'm here in Laguna Beach and it's always this big drum roll before I fly somewhere. And it's claustrophobia. It's like some sort of sense that, oh, I'm in a situation I can't get out. I can't tell the plane to pull over. I'm stuck there in this tube in the sky. And that premise just freaks me out all the time. So I get Xanax, but I don't take it. I take it with me. I got a notebook full of quotes that Nisargadatta said, that you said, that everybody, my grandmother said. I mean, I got all sorts of notes with me. I got my meds. I'm freaking out the night before the flight. I can't sleep because I'm rehearsing all these.
Just don't go to Boston or take a train.
I'm rehearsing all these things that could go wrong, in other words. Well, as life would have it, the day of the flight, I get on board. We go up. They're serving, coffee, tea. I'm starting to watch a movie, and then they're telling me it's time to land. And it's like, well, what was that all about? I never opened up this folder of all the quotes. I never opened up my Xanax and thought about taking it. In other words, it's just this big,
You should have left the notebooks and the
nothing.
Xanax on the plane for the next.
And then it was like, let's go to Martha's Vineyard. Then I'm thinking the same thing. Oh, the ferry, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get seasick. The same crap. It's just like, it's so funny how the head will just insist that something's bad is going to happen. And then when life actually happens, it's more than fine. It's like, it wasn't even an issue to begin with. It's just interesting how
amazing how it fails unbelievably. And it keeps broadcasting.
Yeah, and I'm convinced, oh, this broadcast is real, you know.
Yes, none of them. Yes, yeah. This is why it's mechanical. What you believe, y- your belief in, or there's a belief that something can be convinced that can't be convinced. So
Yeah.
it's sort of
Yeah.
like when you realize that horse that seems to be not moving much and not getting you where you want to go is actually dead, and you know you can get off. This is the point. This is a it can be now. Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
you
yeah,
hire,
yeah.
would you hire someone that has failed that much?
Right, right,
No, literally, would you?
right.
I mean, how many times by listening to it did I end up in jail? Many, many fucking times. And then it talked to me, you motherfucker, you're so stupid. You're back in jail. Hey, I was listening to you. And then when I would leave, it would tell me, oh, well, we should party. We just got out of jail and do the same thing that's going to bring me back to jail. I mean, Jesus, talk about out to lunch, out to dinner, breakfast, everything. Yeah. And you keep going back to the same well.
Yeah, yeah, the deck was
No,
served
that's
and
the
I
beautiful
did
news.
the
That which keeps going back to the same well is of the well. It's
yeah,
not of you. You're aware of it. Yeah. You're aware of it and you're going along with it. Yeah. If you're
it was
aware of it and you don't go along with it, you will see a change occur. Yes.
if you're aware of it and you don't go along with
Consent. It's
it.
a
Right,
weird consent that's given through ignorance in a way. Without
right.
knowing it. In AA, we have a statement that after this statement, tons of shit occurs, and it's without knowing it. So without knowing it, do, and then 5 more pages later, without knowing it, do. So basically, a lot of shit was going on without us knowing it. Yeah. So now we can't use that excuse. You are now knowing it. You can see it. You can see the selfing. Yeah. Yeah. And then watch that consent be re, retracted and given to, let's say, life. So now you're in the consent of giving permission to be alive instead of I've got to get to this point or that point. No. Yeah. Yeah. It's a slavery, literally. It's a slavery. Every plane ride
Yeah,
will come up with
yeah.
this fucking thing,
It
and
it
you've
it,
you've
it was all
tried
unnecessary
every
too.
plane ride.
It was all unnecessary, completely
Well,
unnecessary.
exactly, but see that same stuff. You're now reporting it with value, and then if you stay with it, you're going to be laughing your gonads off about it when it does it on the next plane ride. It will be like, I thought that show was canceled. No, it just the comedy goes on and on and on.
Yeah, the show came back. Right, right.
It does. You can't. Yeah, it's most stuff is mechanical. We're not even we're saying that so it doesn't sound like personal. We're using that terminology to capture it. I don't know what it is, but it triggers and triggers and triggers. And and there's an allowance of that by a certain consent. There isn't you to say no, but there's a wisdom that will see through stuff, and it will bring you to some conclusions. It will. And then this action figure, without all these open doors and unended question mark sentences, it's going to know its own limitation, and it's going to, therefore it's going to look for a better cushion. Yeah. And really look forward to the gluten-free pizza, because it's not a world divider, or it's just gonna have very low targets. I hope the Yankees win today in the World Series. Very low. Yeah, it is. And this is its world, and it likes this world. Yeah. It doesn't want to sit there for 13 hours on its ass pondering, did I leave the stove on or not? Whatever. Yeah.
But it's just funny how these principles, these ideas, how they make sense when we're here now, but when life, starts pounding on the door and, you're dealt with these kind of curveballs, it's funny how all these principles go out the window.
That won't happen. Don't worry. The principles are much more anchored than all the shit that's moving around. You're gonna see a difference.
Nice way to put it. That's nice. That's nice.
You won't
I see.
believe
Yeah, and that proved out to be true. As soon as we landed, I was actually physically laughing. I mean, at myself, and people were probably looking at me. It was
No, there's gonna be a lot more of that. And
it was like, what was that all about? I'm here now. Get over it. It's over. It's nothing. It was nothing. Yeah.
well, the evidence will be obvious, and there can be a movement because you'll lose interest in it. Because it's not about you. If this is what keeps the interest lingering down in that direction, it's presented as something about you. And the you is like the bloodhounds of the head. That's the scent they follow. When that is removed, when you see it as not you, there's going to be a loss of interest in it. It's just the way it goes. Just like I lose interest in a conversation other people are having because I'm hoping it's about me. When I find out they're not talking about me, I immediately lose interest in it. Yeah, same, exact same principle.
Wow.
Yeah, the key is not repairing it, rehabbing it. It's losing interest in it as you. That's the key. The key is a loss of interest in self. Yeah, self cannot do that. So when it vows to lose interest in itself, that's interest in itself. Yeah, it doesn't recognize the fault of the system. You need to recognize it. Self will constantly keep trying to get out of self because it believes it can get out of self, because it believes it's different than self and it ain't. So you have to realize it can't get out of self, but it's not going to get it. You don't need a big talk and convince it. It can't be convinced. It's programmed. It doesn't get it. So move on. Yeah. Just lose interest in it. Let it be perplexed and confused. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to die. No, that it may say so. And it's an incredible, and the highest form of mind in Zen would be don't know. Don't know. See, the thing about the head, it knows when it doesn't know. It says it knows shit that it doesn't know. Yeah, because it doesn't, to see that would be a fail of the system. The system's lights would go off. The system is preserving the system. It wants to keep the lights on, and it's in an incredible conundrum because its mental logic is like a pretzel. Doesn't make fucking sense. If you look at it, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So it wants you to be busy looking at everything else. It doesn't want you to sit still and check this out. Yeah, it doesn't, because it's full of holes. Yeah, so. Yeah, so good, Mucci. I'm happy. So remember that. Build a little temple on that demonstration that its forecast was bogus once again.
It was fake news.
Yeah, a lot of fake news.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad I shared that. And yeah, that was the essence of it. So anyway. Yeah. Fake news for the mind, and I bought it, and I shouldn't have.
Well, you didn't buy it. You didn't buy it. The one who printed the newspaper is the one who's buying the newspaper.
Right.
It's yes. The reason why it printed a newspaper for it to be the buyer of the newspaper. So it printed the newspaper. You're going to go down in flames in Boston, and then it buys the newspaper and the plane made it or whatever. Yes, it's in a loop, and the response to it is not our response. It's the system's reaction to the system. Yeah. Usually when we're young, we don't see any of that. Then we become self-aware and we start recognizing one aspect of the system. but we believe the one that's observing that aspect or critiquing it is us. That is not true. This is non-two. The two faces of you are neither of them are you. Yeah. So there's you just gunning around, then you become self-aware. Wait a minute, this is not working. And then that which is start critiquing that and talking about that, you feel it's just the assumption it's the authentic you that was covered up a little bit. But yeah, no, it ain't. It's not the authentic you. Your authentic you doesn't talk to you.
So when those, let's call them notifications, let's call them, when they pop up, you just don't, you're not, you're not them, right?
Well, the thing is, you got the same notification, but it was a different destination and a different departure. So the last one was Morocco to Paris, and it
Right.
did probably said the same thing as it said from Boston to wherever. So
Precisely the same, yes.
it changes the cities, but it's the same fucking bulletin.
Right, right,
Yes. It's
right.
mechanical. It's spitting it out like a fucking when you print something out and you make 50.
Well, how come there's no innate wisdom that says that recognizes, oh no, this is just what I do? It was not that. It was like, no, this trip is the worst one. This is the one. Like, why is that? Like, the whole history falls off, and now I've convinced myself that this is the
Well,
real
because
horror.
it has the opposite buying the paper. Yeah. So it's the news of the system, for the system, by the system, as the system. So the one who
Right.
the one who writes the news and the one who reads the news are the same fucking bogus fake news. Yes.
Right. So now it's
Oh,
gonna.
sky. Did you ever see a sky have a conversation with a cloud? Have you ever seen the sky
I love
just
the
stop
sky
the cloud,
cloud metaphor.
back,
Right.
just
Right.
start talking
Right.
to it?
Right.
No. Cloud does whatever it wants to do, dissipates, gets big, rains, goes this way, blah, blah. Sky doesn't, it's just holding the space for the whole thing to happen. Yes.
Totally
So
neutral. Yeah. Yeah.
it is a two-step dance. It's not cha-cha-cha, it's cha-cha. Yeah. There's the observed Paul and there's the observing Paul. When the observed Paul gets caught, the observing Paul says it's the authentic one, and the observed Paul was the fraudulent one. They're both frauds.
Mm.
This is non-duality. Non-two, not two. It's not 40, not 80, not one. It's not two. So what you're not reacts and becomes two. It's like an amoeba sees something and then another amoeba gets formed. So there's the amoeba that's known and then the knowing amoeba. They're the same amoeba. Yeah, and you're not that. This is non-duality, I feel. Yeah. I've seen people who are very, very clear about, they're very, very self-aware, but they're not traveling nice because that aspect of self they're not aware of, that's the one who's claiming to be self-aware. And it's just using the information that's now open to beat themselves up even fucking more. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, knowledge of the objectified self held as the subjectified self is just another form of hell in a sense. Yeah. So knowledge of the objectified self, yeah, and knowledge of the subjectified self is non-duality. I'm not that nor that. Not this, not that. Yes. Yeah. And then you'll really travel lighter and you will really, I am completely here in Novato right now. Completely. Completely sleeping when I'm sleeping. Completely everything. Completely. Yeah. Just completely. All the time. Yeah. I don't believe I should or could be anywhere else. You're just here. Here, 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 here. You've seen, we present it. We try to present it. We try to present the here and there story, where your head is here and wants to make a better here by thinking it's over there. And then you do all this shit to get to there. And as soon as you arrive at there, it's here. And then you can manufacture another there and another there. It doesn't want to stay in the seat it's in. It wants to believe there's another move it can make. Yeah, but all of it is musical chairs. Yeah. One sits down, the one that gets up is the one that was sitting down. One's it's just object, subject, subject, object, on and on. Yes, I know so much about me as another me. Self-knowledge avails us nothing. Goes on and on.
And so that entails also if you're in Nevada and unpleasant sensations or feelings of anxiety or nervousness come through you, you just say, hey, that's the action figure, that's not me,
You
right?
don't say anything. They come through you.
But you don't, yeah, you don't
There's
try
no
to go to work on
log. There's no log of the day mostly.
them.
I'm not like a captain that's keeping a log of how the ship SS Paul goes. It's mostly forgotten in a second. Yeah, nothing. It's not noteworthy enough to write down. Just fucking shit comes and goes. Yeah.
Including awful feelings of nervousness.
Oh, awful feelings. Like, how long is this meeting gonna continue? Yeah, having a concern there. But no, you just awful stuff for sure. But you have a built-in space. Yeah. Hmm. The sky, the clouds are appearing in the sky. They don't move towards the sky. The sky has to seemingly move to the clouds. The clouds can't move. There's no sky that's somewhere other than the sky. Yeah? The clouds moving no, it's moving in the sky. It's not moving to the sky. Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you have the bowl, the different ingredients don't. It's not such a clash. Yeah, of feeling bad. Yeah, it's the same fucking bowl. Yeah. 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 To this, this action figure here is a crapshoot every day. I've had so much damage in the legs. If my right leg had an idea to fuck with me, it could just wake up with a twist and the whole day would be affected on a physical moving, everything. Yes. Everything like that. Do I go to sleep with any concern or worry? No. I sleep like a baby. If I'm a crippled baby, it'll be dealt with then. But right now I'm uncrippled. I'm going to sleep like a baby.
Nice.
Who the
Nice.
hell knows what's going to happen? I don't have any idea. Yeah,
Right.
it's a
Right.
crapshoot. I wake up, my legs. I feel it a little. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go for it. And of course, I have the demand of the dog. I got to walk, go take it outside. So I don't have time to be. Yeah, I don't do much note taking anymore. Yeah,
It's good to know. Good to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff isn't that memorable, yeah? Is it? I mean, I don't think I've held on to one thought in the last year or two. They're all came and went. I didn't buy one thought. I don't have it. It's not here. It's just I like the background sound. It's like a babbling brook. I'm not trying to understand the babbling. I'm just hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something wants to get my attention, it will. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy to know you guys. It's very nice, Moochie. Yeah, I'm happy. This is going to be, you're going to travel lighter in spite of yourself, bro, not as yourself. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to begrudgingly give up the ghost. It will. Yeah. Yeah. You'll come to conclusions, and some of those conclusions are very well founded. And the investigation will be called off, and it will be like a part of the new foundation that you will be living and experiencing life from. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Anyone else there, Kathleen?
I don't see any other hands raised. I don't see anyone else motioning that they look like they want to talk.
All right. Well, let's say good. I want to say, Mary, I'll see you in another 15 years, maybe, yeah? Yeah, you're in the 15-year rotation. Yeah. We're gonna call you Comet Mary. You'll come.
I don't have that long. I think I give it up right away.
Oh, all right, honey. Well, I'm happy to see you.
Yeah,
Whatever
I'm
happened to
happy to be
Richard
here.
Miller? What happened to Richard Miller? Can you say?
He went to India and was working as a consultant, and then he decided that all this stuff was a bunch of bullshit and it wasn't good for young people to hear it. That's the
Well,
last I talked to him about 10 years ago.
hopefully he's not a coach.
I think he is a coach. Yeah, probably.
I know. I know. I like Richard. He was funny.
He is fun. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, nice to see you, honey. Come back, I
Okay.
hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Aaron has his hand up now.
Oh, Aaron, this is after time, but all right. It's okay. Come on, Aaron.
Yeah, just sorry, just wanted to ask, I've not had any kind of like free samples or glimpses or anything like that. Does that matter at all?
No, it doesn't. You probably have had free samples, but something overrode it fast. Free samples come with the thing, and their value, there's a value no matter what, because there's a value if you don't have free samples, recognizing something is obscuring it. Yeah. And you're not that. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I recommend you come here every once in a while, Arun, so I can say hello to you. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're here 5 times a week, as long as we can pull it off. Yeah, we'll be here.
I'm in the UK. There's like an 8 hour time gap.
Yeah, well, you can catch a couple of them, and yeah, I'd just like to see you again, Arun, if
All
possible.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jamie, Sans Barbara, nice to see you, Jamie. Kathleen, wonderful job. You got that ever-present thing hanging in the sky there.
It's this amazing petunia that never wants to die. I can't take it down till it's dead.
The eternal petunia. All right. Chris H., nice to see you. These are the last few days you can rest. Yeah. Yeah. Axel. Nice to see you, Axel. Mike Clark, my man in Mexico. Kerry, in some house somewhere. I think it's Carol's. Yes. Marl, there you are. Traveling it through there, hey, honey? Yes. Very good. Diona. Rico, a man of his word. Rick Rowe, nice to see you, Rick. Toronto. Lisa, thank you so much for the focaccia and the pumpkins. I just had one last night, the pumpkin, like a muffin. Yes, thank you so much.
Was good. You're so welcome.
Yes. Vlad, my man in Portugal. Vlad. It's in the cards. We'll run into each other again soon. Yeah. Walter. I think I said hello to Alan. Nice to see you, Alan. Annette. Yeah. Muchi. Keith G. I just had the pleasure of seeing Keith the other day here. Nice to see you, Keith.
Yeah. Thanks for
Everett.
the biscottis.
Oh, the biscottis, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, eh? Yeah. In a way, I'm happy you're not here. It lends. I'll have more of them.
Get a few more.
Everett Nelson. Yes. Zoe Banks, Zoe in Japan, wow. Roman Mueller. Eric in Vista, nice to see Eric. Hey, thank you, everyone. Pleasure today, as always. Oh yeah, pass the hat around. People resent the one person that says this every week. They go, Paul forgot once again. All right, no escape. Hey, I'll see you guys. The schedule is pretty set. We'll be here Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.
Thanks.
Kathleen,
Paul.
thank you for your lovely
Everybody have-
service.
Thanks,
Great
y'all.
thoughts,
Love
Lon.
you guys.
Thank you, Paul.